So, in the Scream team, that's the DCOM that we're talking about today, in case you clicked on the wrong video.
Yeah, just in case.
Just in case. The town of what is it? What is it
I
called?
don't know the town name.
I did write it down at some point in here. The town of I think it's like Steeple Falls. It calls itself the capital of Halloween. Um,
The fa.
Not to fully dox ourselves,
We've
but
already
yeah,
basically doxed ourselves anyway. We
yeah,
said we're from Minnesota. That's
we're
all
from
we're giving
Minnesota.
here.
And there's a town that we know of in Minnesota that also claims itself to be the capital of Halloween.
The Halloween capital of the world, right? Isn't that what they claim?
I believe so, which is crazy.
It's Anoka, Minnesota. Yeah, they're not that big.
We should have got your sister on here. She did a report
She
once.
did a whole paper on it and for college because she's a history major, I think. That's how I learned it from. And then if you drive through Anoka, they have like a mural that says Halloween capital. What?
So
Anoka?
basically, Steeple Falls, you're on notice.
You're on notice.
You've been challenged, and I would like to see your Halloween off. Ignore the fact by the end of this movie that they're no longer the Halloween capital of the world. I guess they just cowered in the fear of Anoka, Minnesota.
Yeah. Anoka's very scary.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Now do a spooky intro.
Welcome, everybody, to the DCOM Duo podcast.
I'm BenG.
I'm Kelsey.
We're the DCOM duo.
Spooky podcast.
Yes, that's what you look up when you're trying to find us. The DCOM duo spooky podcast.
Happy Halloween. It's May.
Happy Halloween. Yes, it's about as far as you can get from Halloween.
Other than like right after Halloween, I guess.
Well, then you got like the Halloween, like aftershock.
Aftershock.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it definitely doesn't feel like Halloween right now, but we're here to talk about a Halloween DCOM. Arguably the most forgettable Halloween DCOM.
Arguably, it's one that definitely is a Halloween DCOM,
Yeah.
but it being Halloween is actually a pretty like small part.
I don't know. Is it Halloween?
They have the Halloween festival.
So probably is Halloween.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it just doesn't matter that much, even though they have this festival and they carve pumpkins, but that's about it. And then there's ghosts. Like the theme is definitely spooky.
Yeah.
And you can watch it on Halloween and it's not weird.
But it's also just definitely a ghost movie.
Yeah, and like who's even heard of this one? I never heard of it before.
This was infamously the last film we watched in our first run through of every Disney Channel original movie.
Which is crazy. We ended with Scream Team.
And it's very funny to me for that because, especially on a rewatch here, it is an extremely filler DCOM.
Yeah.
It's not objectively awful. It's not objectively bad. It has some interesting stuff about it. It honestly feels different than a lot of DCOMs for what it is. But at the same time, it just fits that like mediocre movie build.
Yeah.
The only notes I really have are why in the world is it called the Scream Team?
They never once say Scream Team except for the original song that like plays in the beginning.
They say Soul Patrol several times.
Yeah.
So I'm just guessing that they didn't have the rights to that somehow.
It's so weird.
And then they were like, well, we'll just switch it to something else that's like marketing well.
I guess they're a team and they scream sometimes. So
But, like not all of them. We don't see Ian scream like basically ever.
Yeah, we do. Oh my gosh, yeah, we do.
Yeah, I know we do. I'm just lying.
You're just a liar.
We don't see Cough and Ed ever scream.
That's probably true.
Yeah. Yeah. And then second of all, it's just like it really is just a DCOM that's just there.
It's just there. No one watches this movie ever.
Maybe. If you grew up with the Scream team, I'm genuinely curious what your opinions and thoughts are about this. This just feels like, even like out of the most forgettable DCOMs, more... It's too memorable to be like remembered as the most forgettable DCOM or something, you know? I remember Rip Girls way more than this.
Exactly.
Maybe
I
that's not a
remember
perfect example, but like
I
I remember
remember
Buffalo Dreams better than this.
that's one I forget about a lot too. Like Fan of the Megaplex, I remember a lot more than this.
Yeah.
Just as a concept.
Yeah, I
I
think
always have to be reminded that Scream Team exists.
and like the concept isn't even objectively unwild. It's a pretty interesting concept plot wise enough.
Yeah, I feel like it's been done before,
That's
but
that's maybe the thing. This feels like a B-rate Beetlejuice,
yeah,
and
for real.
it feels like a Beetlejuice without enough wackiness, which maybe that's fine. There's a lot of wackiness in Beetlejuice,
Yeah.
but none of the characters are nearly as interesting. And yeah. But then again, it's a made for TV movie, so what are we to judge?
Yeah. I wonder if it must have played during like the DCOM Halloween marathons, right?
Must
Maybe at like 2 a.m.
Yeah, this was the midnight showing.
Yeah.
Again, like I don't think this is even objectively bad.
It's not that bad. It's just like kind of boring and
It
definitely
was
forgettable.
fully watchable, but it's also just like nothing much is going on that really there. It's everything we've seen before, perhaps presented in a different light, but not in a way that I care.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, before we talk more about it, I don't think we have fan mail. Do we have fan mail?
We do not have fan mail this week, but this gives us a chance to quick mention a couple other things on our end. First off, if you'd like to send us fan mail, we love to hear it. You can email us at thedcomduo@gmail.com,
Yep.
or you can like do an YouTube comment or something else. Hopefully we would get there. Carrier pigeon works. Uh
We did dox ourselves, so.
Next, by the time this comes out, we expect our 100 YouTube subscriber special to be out.
Yes, it should be published now on YouTube, so go check that out. We played Sinatu Nerdle Battle and got every single decom connected somehow. So we had fun.
We
Hopefully, it's fun to watch. It is an hour long.
no promises on the quality of that content, but we had a fun time making it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
thank you for 100 subscribers again.
Yes.
Yes.
On YouTube. Yes.
Yes. And next, finally, our next episode after this um is a normal episode, but after that we have a mini-sode.
Heck yeah.
So tune in for that if you care. We'll rank the last 10 DCOMs that we had watched at that point, and
And we'll do something
we'll do
else.
something else.
I
Yeah,
don't know what we have planned right now, but we'll do something.
yeah. Someone asked me the other day what my Mount Rushmore of DCOMs was, and now my brain's kind of stuck on figuring that out. So
Maybe we'll talk about that.
maybe we'll talk about that. All right. So with that, we can move on to the factos and switch up.
Whoa, switcheroo. I did the factos this time and Benji did the notes.
Crazy.
So now we'll go to me for the Decom Duo factos.
Let's go.
The Scream Team was released October 4th, 2002, and it was the 41st Decom.
Again, if you were making the most forgettable decom, those are some stats that you would include. It being a Halloween one doesn't make it any more interesting because they have like 20 Halloween
Yeah, they have a
decoms.
lot of Halloween ones. The director is Stuart Gillard. We have heard that name before because he directed Full Court Miracle,
Mhm.
which we have covered. So I just copied your notes from that. He also directed Going to the Mat, Hatching Pete, Avalon High, both Twitches movies, and Girl vs. Monster. So we've covered a lot of those actually.
He did a fair amount of spooky ones himself.
He did.
It's a wide range of quality within there. He's got like the four spectrum of ironically bad and actually bad.
Yeah.
He's got actually good but ironically bad. He's got ironically good, actually bad, and he's got just genuinely good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. He's hit the whole spectrum.
He's all over the place. You wrote before notable producing / directing credits on shows 90210, Charmed, Jane the Virgin, So Help Me Todd, and others. And he's a 3-time DJ nominee for Girl vs. Monster, Avalon High, and Going to the Mat.
Again, I think that's an interesting group of those because why is Full Court Miracle not there?
I don't
Maybe the
know.
award wasn't for kids media at that point. I think it was though.
I
Whatever.
don't know. Right. Now going into our cast, our main character, Ian Carlisle, is played by Mark Rendall. He was in the Neverending Story show, but like the 2001/2002 version, so not like the original.
I only really know of the movie.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other
Hmm.
spin-off stuff, I think. He's done a bunch of small roles in voice acting. More recently, he was on the show Versailles. He played Thomas Beaumont. if anyone's watched Versailles. I've definitely heard of Versailles. And then most recently, he was in the movie The Apprentice
Oh,
as Roger Stone, if that's anyone important. I don't know. I haven't seen that movie.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's a pretty important person historically.
Okay,
So,
there you go then. He might have a bigger role in that movie then. Are you looking something up?
I was just confirming who it is, and yeah, it's like the political consultant to Donald Trump in like the modern day. Yeah,
Oh,
one helped getting him into the 2016 election.
crazy. Yeah, okay, so
So,
shout out to Mark Rendall for being that role in that movie.
yeah,
Next, we have Claire Carlisle, played by Kat Dennings, arguably the most famous out of this cast, but I do have a contender that I will talk about later.
interesting. I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear because Kat Dennings is just a name that like every time I saw it, I'm like, this person's actually pretty big.
Yes. Yeah, she is definitely the most recognizable to us, I will say.
It's one of these decoms that has a classic old person that was actually way bigger than we realized.
Um, so she was in Raise Your Voice, which I thought was funny to note because that's with Hilary Duff, and that's like a bad movie. She was in 40-Year-Old Virgin, which we used as a key connection in our 100 subscriber special. So again, check that out. She was in The House Bunny. She was in Thor Dark World, and Thor Love and Thunder. So I feel like that's where a lot of people recognize her from the MCU. She was also in WandaVision and What If from the MCU. Um, Another big notable role she has is Two Broke Girls.
Is she one of the two girls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. She was a voice in Big Mouth, maybe multiple voices. And her most recent credit is a 2025 show called Shifting Gears. So she's
I've heard of that actually.
I don't know. It's from 2025, so she's still doing stuff. She's pretty big. I feel like most people will recognize her face.
She's like one of those pretty successful actors.
Yeah.
I would genuinely say, like, I think was the best out of these actors. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I know not thinking
I
about
think
much,
she
but I
did.
liked her performance in
Yeah,
this one.
she did really good. She's a really good comedic actor.
I felt like it was above the other people within here, but
Yeah.
it was whatever. Yeah.
A lot of the dialogue humor like works in this movie, and that's probably due to the actors. Like there's nothing really cooking in the script or anything, but like they play siblings very well and like
Yeah.
family dynamics.
Again, this movie's not bad. It's just forgettable.
Yeah. Next, we have Richard Carlisle, the dad. He's played by Robert Boxdale. He's not in many other movies, but he's done lots of voice acting, including Sailor Moon. And the biggest Disney Channel credit he has is in Jet Jackson, the TV show and the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't watched, well, we watched the movie.
We watched the movie,
but we
one
haven't seen
time.
the show. So I couldn't tell you like how big his role is, but he is in like the entire show and the movie. So I think he's a decent role in that.
Gotcha.
Next, we have Frank Carlisle, the grandpa. He's played by Gary Reinecke. He was also in The Neverending Story, but the one from 1995 as some voices. So I thought that was funny to note. Nothing else. Like he had a bunch of credits, but nothing else I really recognize. And sadly, he did pass away in September 2024. He was 84 years old.
Man, and he played a dead person in this film.
Mhm.
Oh no. Everyone dies. They say that within there. Rest in peace.
Next, I just thought I'd mention Warner because he's kind of a big character. He's played by Nigel Bennett. He's done just a ton of small stuff, nothing I really recognize, except for The Shape of Water. He plays Mihalkov, or I don't know how to say.
Yalkov?
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't seen Shape of Water.
I am not either, but I'm like, oh, he has a credit for Shape of Water. I doubt it's a big role, but thought I'd mention him. Next, for the ghosts, we have Coffin Ed, played by Eric Idle. He is one of the main people in Monty Python. He's a writer and an actor for Monty Python. Yeah.
I honestly, when I was looking at him, I'm like, I feel like I recognize your face, but I didn't place it.
I recognized his voice, and you want to know how I recognize his voice?
How?
102 Dalmatians. He is the voice of the parrot in the live-action movie 102 Dalmatians. Y'all, I loved this movie as a kid. He is also in Ella Enchanted as the narrator, and Shrek the Third as Merlin. So just some fun kid stuff. Obviously, he's in like all the Monty Python stuff. And finally, more recently, he was on The Masked Singer in 2022 as the Hedgehog.
I'm surprised he's even big enough to be considered for that. Well, I guess a Monty Python cast. Yeah. I'm forgetting the big credit right there
Yeah.
when you're just listing the other stuff.
He was eliminated the first episode. So
Gotcha.
next we have Jumper. He's played by Tommy Davidson. He is the voice of Oscar Proud, the dad of the Proud family.
There's a fair bit of connections within
Yeah,
here.
specifically the ghosts all have like good
Yeah.
connections, which I guess makes sense. He was also in Black Dynamite as Cream Corn and Sharknado 4: The Fourth Awakens. I thought that was funny to note. He was also in a bunch of other stuff that I didn't recognize, but the biggest thing for us is like the Proud family.
Yeah.
Finally, last one of note, no one else I thought was worth noting, but I do have Mariah. This is who I think is a pretty big celebrity, other than like the Monty Python guy is also big. But Mariah is played by Kathy Najimy. She is one of the witches from Hocus Pocus.
Shit. That's just I've not watched Hocus Pocus.
I haven't either, so that's why we didn't clock it. But she's the one with black hair.
Okay.
Yeah. She was also in Sister Act 1 and Sister Act 2 as Mary Patrick, if you guys are fans of Sister Act. She was in Hope Floats, which is a significant movie to my childhood.
And no one else.
And no one else's, but Hope Floats stars Sandra Bullock. She was in Hope Floats in the beginning as Tony Post, who's this talk show lady. Like, Sandra Bullock is on this talk show being told that her best friend's having an affair with her husband on a talk show.
I find the way I do factos versus you do factos very fascinating. You're like, and they played this character, and I have this story about that.
Yeah.
I'm always just trying to like get everything like someone might know them from this.
I do what's significant to me mostly, or if I know it's generally popular in the public. But we're not even done with Kathy, okay? She was the voice of the human lady in WALL-E.
Like the main,
Like the girl that talks with
Yeah.
the guy. Yeah, the human. I don't know. She's in King of the Hill as Peggy Hill.
oh, so just casually a main character of King
Yeah.
of the Hill.
And finally, she is in Descendants as the evil queen.
There we go. Okay.
She's pretty big.
Yeah, she's pretty big. I do think Kat probably still clears.
Yeah, that's fine.
But like, yeah, she's pretty big.
But it's not like she's the only
It's
star
Kat and
here.
Kathy.
Kat and Kathy, and then Eric Idle too from Monty Python.
Yeah. But I don't think he's as big.
Yeah. Same. Kat's not the only
This
star
cast is
power
not
here.
that small.
Yeah. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, any fun facts?
Barely. I was kind of reaching for these. I learned, I think on IMDb, that Scream Team was intended as a pilot for a TV series, but nothing came out of it. Obviously, it became a movie instead.
Mhm.
Maybe that's why it was called Scream Team. It was meant for a show.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Honestly, with the way the movie ends, it makes sense that they left kind of room to expand upon some of these characters. They didn't write them off when they could have written them off.
Yeah, and they were
Um,
like staying in the town, so it's like they could have done more
Yeah, they just
shenanigans
had
in
to
the
wait
town.
for Ghosts on CBS to take all of their thunder.
Yeah, it's kind of like, why didn't Mariah pass on? That's what would happen in a movie. It's because she would be there for the show.
Yeah, they wrote it's written in a way where every character is still there.
Yeah,
So they definitely could have turned it into something.
yeah. Finally, one of the writers, Robert Short, won an Oscar for Best Makeup for his work on Beetlejuice. So maybe that's why this movie feels so much like Beetlejuice.
It's because he's like, I've worked on Beetlejuice. Well, I can say this much. He probably did deserve that Oscar for Beetlejuice.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
great
Mhm.
makeup.
Yeah, he's like mainly a makeup artist, but he was one of the writers for this too.
Yeah.
So
I do appreciate that out of every Oscars, like makeup is the one where they say it can be a terrible movie, but if it's got good makeup, we'll show you that.
yeah,
Like Suicide Squad, not the Suicide Squad, Suicide Squad, as in what are we, some kind of Suicide Squad, as in Jared Leto Joker
yeah,
won best makeup because it had good makeup.
yeah.
All right,
All right, you ready for the Disney Plus subscription?
give it to me, sister.
Not your sister. With Halloween looming, Ian and Claire Carlisle accompany their father to his childhood hometown of Steeple Falls for the funeral of their beloved Grandpa Frank. As the small town prepares for its Halloween festival, marking the legend of Zachariah Cole, Ian and Claire are startled to discover that ghosts really do exist. Worse, they learn that the angry spirit of Zachariah Cole won't allow their late grandfather's soul to rest.
I feel like this is missing where the majority of the plot is, which is about like the whole soul retrieval center. But if you want to save that for like a surprise, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The plot is driven by the Zachariah stuff.
Yeah. It's not it's just missing something if anything.
And they find out that ghosts really do exist.
I just want more of these to be objectively wrong, like Halloween Town and Halloween Town 2.
Yeah.
You ready to jump into the movie?
I'm ready to Halloween Town 2 Calibur's revenge into the movie.
All right, let's Halloween Town 2 Calabar Revenge into this movie. We start with an opening credit sequence. Um, this kind of goes on for longer than I expect.
Yeah, it goes
It's
on for
just
a
like
while.
spooky text with like breeze in the
It's
background.
like the opening credits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like an opening credit, but like I'm just kind of surprised this has a slow roll opening credits. I feel like in 2002 already those were well out of style,
Mm.
especially for a made-for-TV kids movie. They just want to get into the action. Whatever. At least we get to hear the banger of the Scream team.
Screen team.
It's kind of awesome. Then we see some ghosts flowing through a house. I put down here the best way to describe it. They don't look like your typical ghosts in
Right.
any piece of media. They are essentially, I wrote it down as Northern Lights.
Yeah, so like they can go into like a human form, but then when they fly around, they kind of squish down into just a light flow.
Yeah, they're just kind of like light eminence.
Yeah, think Xenon the sequel, Alien.
Yes, that is good. I'm very topical to the crowd.
Yes.
Uh, yeah. So we see people. We later learn this is Coffin Ed and Jumper, just from logic. They're searching through the house, but they see some people come into this house, and they realize, oh no, we're being caught. We gotta get away. And we, during the camera panning, see someone presumably dead in a chair.
Yeah.
It's the grandpa. He died. I'm gonna spoil that part.
He's dead.
Yeah. But like a realtor comes into the house and is like, "Oh, we got to do something about these pumpkins," and we get like a dramatic zoom in on the pumpkins.
That's not what she says. She says, I was just coming over here to like come and carve pumpkins with him.
Yeah,
She would say, oh, we gotta do something about these pumpkins.
we get a dramatic zoom in on like
We
in and
do.
out on the pumpkins
We
that
do.
transitions into uh the grandpa, Clara, and Ian.
It's Clara.
Claire. I just
Claire?
wrong the whole.
Oh my gosh, did you write Clara?
No.
Okay.
No.
You fixed it later, but
Okay, you.
in the beginning you wrote Clara a lot.
I am not as skilled about this, and I didn't have the cast in front of me when I started.
True.
All right. Basically, Claire is filming them playing around with some machinery. They're trying to build like a pumpkin carving machine,
Mhm.
but instead of like carving the front into a jack-o'-lantern or anything, it's just like gutting it.
Well, yeah,
You gotta gut it first,
that's an
but
important part. So you gotta cut the hole in the top and then you gotta gut it. Yeah. And it smashes it at first because
Yeah.
it's still a working prototype.
it's
But then-
crushing everything up, and they're all having a fun time trying to build this. And suddenly it's starting to work.
Yeah, but they get pumpkin goo splattered all around them and it's funny. Haha, we're having fun.
Yeah. During this, just like at a random point of this scene, we get a hard cut to Ian and Claire watching this in all black. It's a home movie. They're at their grandpa's funeral service.
So jarring.
It's very jarring.
It's gotta be one of the wildest things that happened at DCOM where it's like, look at this happy moment. Haha, hard cut to funeral.
Which, like, if you were paying attention earlier, you could have been like, that guy died. They already showed his dead body on screen.
It's how they cut to the funeral. Like
Yeah.
Immediately.
And they don't like soften it at all.
No. Just like boom. These kids are at a funeral right now.
Yeah. So they're watching it. They see the pumpkin move and they get all gooped up about it. And you hear the grandpa say, "Oh, what do you think we should call step 3?" And then it's just kind of like fading of him laughing.
Yeah, and also they're watching this home video, which we know Claire was filming, and it keeps cutting between like two different cameras.
It's a great point. It is. He had a multi-camera setup and didn't let us know about it.
And they edited it.
Yeah. She really has some good digital skills with this. The dad comes in. This is like everyone's mourning at his house.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people.
There's a bunch of people there. And he's like, "Hey kids, you shouldn't watch this at a memorial." And the kids are like, what? And we are like, isn't this the time kind of to watch this?
Yeah, this is kind of the time to watch a home video of the man who died.
But the kids leave, and then the dad speaks directly to the TV and says, nice laugh, Dad. Didn't know you had it in you. The
Yeah,
dad is
no.
a moody little guy.
He's a moody teenager still, even though he's an adult man.
Yeah, and he turns off the TV.
Mhm.
So Claire and Ian are just mad that they keep having family members come in invading their personal space and like giving them big hugs and stuff. They're eating some cake, but one of their aunts gets the cake on her butt and
Yeah.
doesn't realize. Haha. Uh, Claire is like, okay, I'm just gonna go up and look into Grandpa's office where she finds someone very suspicious throwing all the books on the ground looking for something.
Yeah, he really is just throwing them on the ground. What the heck?
And he's like, hi, my name is Warren McDonald. Don't worry, I'm not suspicious. Me and your grandpa, we were best friends.
Yeah, and Claire's like, I don't remember you.
Yeah, I feel like grandpa would have mentioned that.
Mhm.
And he's like, well, actually, come to my Halloween festival. It's super cool. See this guy in front? This is Zacharias. It's pretty spooky. You could come. The dad comes in, and Warner immediately kind of like stops his shit a little bit because he's like, oh, wait, this guy grew up here. He can call me out on my bullshit. And the dad,
Mhm.
so Warner leaves, and the dad's like, yeah, those two were like bitter rivals since elementary school. Kind of dramatic to still be like that, but that's how it is.
Mhm.
We get a cut into Ian. He's looking at a picture with himself and his grandpa and mourning and stuff.
He's crying.
Yeah. And he hears his dad talking outside about how much stupid junk there is in the house and it's going to
In
be
the
hard to sell
basement.
everything.
Mhm.
So Ian goes downstairs and he starts playing with his crazy machinery. The grandpa was just like a kooky inventor
Yeah.
type, some stuff. And while he's playing with the equipment, Ian starts hearing his name spookily. So Ian. Ian. And then the dad comes down and he's like, hey, I've been calling for you. Where are you at? And Ian just kind of lashes out at his dad. He's like, this stuff isn't trash. You can't take this as a dump. I refuse to let it. You see this pumpkin carver? It was going to revolutionize Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see this? We built it last year.
Yeah, and this thing, well, I don't know what it is, but it's grandpa's. And you can't take it. And the dad's like, damn.
So not the dad not being like, whoa, you were misunderstanding anything, or whoa, maybe that's a bit of an overreaction to us not even like saying anything yet. Goes, hey, keeping all this stuff isn't going to bring him back, idiot. Idiot was my
Yeah, he doesn't
yeah,
say idiot, but he does say it's not going to bring him back. Like, he's not letting his son mourn.
yeah. Like, well, that can be true. Like, there's something about the freshness of everything, and it's
Yeah.
weird.
And the dad's like, you're lucky you got to come down here because I didn't get to come down here with my dad. He was busy.
Yeah, my dad hated me.
My
so
dad hated me.
what the fuck? Yeah. That night, Dad, Ian, and Claire are the only ones at the house. Now all the other families and everything left, and they talk about how they're living in a small town and how
Mhm.
everything's about that. They're normally big city Boston dwellers.
Yeah.
And Ian sees the poster that Claire got handed by Warren, and it has again Zachariah Cole on it. And Zachariah, he's pretty legendary, you know. The dad
Yeah.
comes and explains everything that's going on about him, the whole backstory. And Ian's like, wait, I heard positive stuff about Zachariah from Grandpa.
Oh, they like shoehorn that in?
They
Okay,
do.
for the reveal later.
And everyone else is creeped out.
All right, I guess I'll talk about it during the reveal, but it's so weird to me. All right, keep going.
Yeah. And you're like, well, actually, he's not a legend. He really existed about 200 years ago. Man, he was a kind of a wild guy. And let me tell you, just got married and he was so happy. And he only loved one thing more than his wife. Fire. He was
an
a
arsonist.
pyromaniac. You could see it in his eyes. And we get a cut to Zacharias staring at fire in an old timey house. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they're talking about how fires always broke out around him. And when the bride finally decided to leave him, He burned his cabin with her in it so she wouldn't leave.
Whoa.
Crazy. So he was charged with murder, and he was going to be, fittingly enough, burned at the stake. But that night, the courthouse burned down. People will wonder, did he escape?
I thought he was burned at the stake.
Maybe I
I
had
think
this wrong.
he was burned at the stake,
And
and
then,
then the courthouse burned down, so they're saying it was him seeking revenge.
okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I may have missed a detail or two on this legitimately critical backstory. That's unfortunate. Yeah, so the courthouse burned down, so people say he's still out there plotting his revenge. And we see Zacharias, like, throwing fireballs.
His ghost.
He doesn't, what he does as a ghost is he just makes, like, an energy ball and throws a fireball.
Yeah, he has fire powers as a ghost.
Don't know how, but fair enough. While telling this story, family has, like, wind open up their front door, so they all go and check what was going on there. And while they're checking, the fireplace they were sitting by throws out a flame and lights up the poster of Zacharias. It just leaves a cutout of his eyes, and the family's a little freaked out about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understandably.
So now it's bedtime. Ian goes to bed. He's a little spooked out. Again, reasonable. He awakes during the middle of the night, and his bed's shaking. It's going crazy, and he panics and yells for his dad. But his dad's like, well, okay, we'll go check. And guess what? It was Claire under the bed.
Sure.
Dick move. Not fun. So Ian grumpily goes back to bed. And basically immediately after having its door closed on him and the lights out, it immediately starts being spooky in the room again.
Yeah.
The room starts blowing around. There's spooky wind movements. The closet opens. Ian falls out of bed. It really seems kind of forced that he fell out of bed, but whatever. And he's like, hey, Claire, knock it off. This isn't funny. And some books get knocked off of a high shelf.
Yeah.
Onto him. Yeah, right next to him.
Ooh.
And he hears a ghost say, and he like trips, knocks over a lamp, and starts running and panicking. The ghost gets away, though. He wasn't able to see anything else.
Spooky.
So he panics, tells his family. The family's like, that wasn't a ghost. You're crazy. And Ian's like, no, not only am I not crazy, it was Grandpa.
It had to have been Grandpa.
Well, who else would want to talk to me? And the dad goes, man, Grandpa's still giving me grief after his death. Typical.
Typical dad.
And Claire's like, well, I'm just happy my spook of you is impacting you this much because I love hurting your development. Yeah. And then the dad, and they leave him to sleep, but they leave his light on for the night. So that's the end of that. It's the next day, and the family's working hard to get Grandpa's stuff out of his house to be returned, sold, etc. Like empty out the house as you need to do. And the dad asked Claire to go get the books that were knocked over from the ghost visit, and Ian's like, whoa, 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 whoa. You can't return these library books.
Yeah, they belong to the library, though.
Yeah. And he's like, you can't do that. No, because this is a message. We need to know about that.
And Claire's like, no, we have to.
Yeah. When grabbing the books to go and return them, Claire notices there's like a wooden box behind where they were set. So she's like, that's weird. And she grabs it and holds on to it. They go into the car, and we get a cut inside where the grandpa ghost is saying, Ian, in the corner of the room. But no one heard him.
But he is there.
He's there. The library, Ian sees a bunch of exhibits out about Zachariah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Big deal in this town. They love the Zachariah legend.
Yeah.
And they love Halloween.
The library explains, like, yeah, it's a legend, but Warren's kind of trying to look at essentially building like a theme park for Zachariah, kind of turn into a tourist area for this town. And the big Halloween festival is a part of that. And there's other interesting stuff, like the town of Steeple Falls has more unexplained fires than any other city
Whoa.
in the country. So
That's Zachariah.
It's Zachariah. Yeah. Those were all Warner's items. He lent it for the display because he actually owns the land that used to have the cabin.
Yeah, how did that happen?
I don't know, but you would assume that this is just like undeveloped land now, right? Because they just had it burnt down and they wouldn't have any rubble or anything in the area.
I don't know.
We'll talk about that later.
Didn't they mention he was going to build a replica of the cabin?
I believe
I
so.
think they do.
Yeah. So all of that continuing, they just go into other parts of the town, and we see some suspicious hay bale delivery going on. You know when you see some people putting some hay bales out of their truck and it looks suspicious?
No.
Well, that's what was happening here. Uh, they see Grandpa's old hardware store, and the kids talk about it because the dad doesn't like it, so they can't talk about it with him. And the delivery guys come through, and oh, don't you know it? It's people who work for Warner, his sons.
Oh, his sons.
Yeah, and they're like just awkwardly interrogating these kids. These are strangers to him, so I really don't get why this is all happening. They're looking for the books that they returned, and they're like, "Yeah, we returned them to the library."
Yeah, duh.
Duh. But the drivers get into a car crash and get the kids just get away.
Hmm.
Glad they didn't get abducted here. That would have been bad.
Yeah, something fishy's going on.
Yeah, the town's getting ready for the festival. Warner is there. He's again leading all this stuff. And he's like, man, it's a shame Frank's store shut down. My kids are excited to take over the business, not his kids.
Not his kid. You're his son, and you're not taking over his hardware store.
Yeah. Back at the house, Claire goes through the wooden box, and oh my god, it's a bunch of keepsakes of the dad as a kid. There's an
Aw.
old article about him getting into Harvard.
Yeah, and the dad comes by and he's like, "Oh, this is my old woodshop box." So it's like his box that his dad kept all these like clippings and stuff.
And oh, your dad, grandpa must have kept it because he liked your work. And dad's like, doubt.
So
He hated me.
yeah.
So, bye. Okay, kids, I'm gonna go leave. Get some homework done. All right?
Okay. I
See ya.
guess it is fall. So
Yeah.
they probably do have homework.
Ian drags up an old machine from the basement to catch a ghost, and the dad's like, "You're crazy, kid. I I don't get you. All right, I'm leaving into town. Don't do anything stupid. They might do something stupid." So that night, Ian sets his equipment. He's so ready to catch a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
He's so excited for this. Claire's like, "You're crazy." Ian like dozes off, sitting up, trying to catch a ghost, but some ghosts do come into the house. They're phasing as their light forms in
Yeah.
through keyholes and stuff. Ian gets startled by it, but he's watching the house, like all the ghosts go room by room throughout the house, and he pulls out this just big mason jar,
Yeah.
basically.
And the ghost goes through the keyhole, so he puts it on the
They go through
keyhole.
a keyhole that's like a one-way room,
I guess.
and he just says, I'm really smart. I'm just gonna put the jar right next to this hole."
Yeah, so when it comes back out, it'll go in the jar.
So the
And that works.
ghost flies in, and he just screws on the jar.
And then, yeah, apparently ghosts can't go through jars.
Yeah.
Everybody knows this.
So the ghosts fly in, and the ghost and Ian look at each other, and they both just kind of scream and freak out a bit.
Yeah.
And then Claire comes out to see, and she also freaks, and she's
Yeah.
like, "No, it's just a ghost."
They scream a lot because they're the scream team. What is this? Some kind of
What are we? Some kind of
team?
screen team? How many times are we referencing Suicide Squad today?
A lot.
It's crazy. Ian's like, no, this is a ghost, and I'm keeping it.
It's mine. I'm keeping it.
Ian's like a weird character.
He's
His motivations feel different than they're supposed to be.
screaming his grandfather. It's a hard time. He found out ghosts are real. He has one in a jar. Things are weird
It's just
right now.
most DCOMs would have this be the Addison from Zombies role of being
What?
like, ghosts are cool. Like, we should believe.
I guess that's the end of Rap's route too, because he's like, no, this mummy's my best friend.
Yeah. Instead, he's like, I just wanted to catch a ghost, and I'm going to keep it.
I'm gonna keep it. You can't make me give it back, Claire.
While they're arguing, they see another ghost come through the keyhole. Oh my god, it's Coffin Ed. He's dressed up as like a revolutionary soldier.
Just like in the show Ghosts.
Yeah. The one they caught is the one named Jumper. They don't know these names yet, but
We do.
he's in a bungee jumping outfit.
Because he died skydiving. A lot of the ghosts are in funny outfits.
related to their weird time of death.
I guess. I mean, all these people, or at least the ones we see later, are like dying modern day, but they're dressed in funny outfits. And is it because it's around Halloween? Maybe? I don't know. It's weird.
Mhm. So the Prophet Ed tries to spook him, and Claire's like, ah! And it's like trying to protect Ian, but Ian's like, no, this is cool. This is fun. And Prophet Ed's like, give me the jar. And Ian's like, no.
Yeah, he just says no. And Coffin
And
Ed's like,
he
well, how
says,
about
I didn't
this?
want to do this to you. And he does what I wrote down as DCOM creepy face.
Yeah, it's
This,
like
this
the
is essentially
pickup.
present in like this early 2000s era of DCOMs.
They loved their new CGI technology, and that's why they do the cool light stuff with the ghosts.
Yeah.
And they're like, the eyes bug out and the lips bug out. Blue, blue, blue.
Yeah, and it just makes a weird face.
Yeah.
And the kids are like, that was just weird. We're not even scared of that. Like both of them. They're like, that was
And
stupid.
that was lame.
They're like, can you do anything else? And he says, not really. So Ian pulls up a vacuum cleaner and tries to suck him up. And he can't. He gets away. So the kids start chasing after him because chase after a ghost, obviously.
Duh, they want to see where he goes.
Yeah. But they just run into the forest because that's where they go. And Claire's like, I'm scared. And Ian's like, go faster, idiot. I'm saying idiot a lot too.
You keep inserting idiot. Like they keep calling
I'm just trying to get the
idiot.
tone right, and it feels like that's what it is a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Uh, and Ian's like, can't believe we lost him. If only you were faster. And then Claire looks up in the sky and says, I think I know where he's going. Because there's a bunch of ghosts in the sky flying towards.
They're all going that way.
Yeah, oh my god. Yeah. So they just keep chasing after. Finally, they reach an abandoned building. Often Ed flies around a bit inside this building and goes through a hole in the wall. And we get some text on the screen that says North American Zone 6 Soul Retrieval Center.
It's like a DMV for dead people.
Yeah. I put it down imports and customs.
Yeah, because okay, all they really do is send people through to the other side, and they just want to make sure their count is good of like how many people are dead and how many people are do we have accounted for.
It's basically a job area of, hey, everyone that died today, you're going to travel here, and then you're going to go through our portal to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
What's on the other side? Depends on what you believe in.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. And we see a bunch of people in the area. They all died in funky outfits, and a lot of people working at the area that are just trying to get the souls to fly through as efficiently as possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And now the kids, remember them? They walk into this, like, the building.
No, they. Oh, are they in the building? I thought they fall through the ceiling.
They do eventually, but they
Oh.
start by walking in the building a little bit.
Okay.
And Claire's like, oh man, why aren't we turning around and like going home? This is weird. And Ian's like, let's just go inside. We see Hoff and Ed talking to the bride, who seems to be the like main ghost behind this.
Yeah,
Mariah.
she's in charge. She
Like,
is wearing a
she's-
wedding dress.
Yes, classic ghost in a wedding dress. That
Yeah.
happens a lot.
A lot, or like a zombie in a wedding dress. Yeah.
Yeah. And he says, well, there's a couple of problems. I didn't get the soul. Jumper is missing, and a couple of living kids are here.
What?
And just when that happens, the kids fall through the ceiling into the facility.
Yeah, they land on a
Notably, like-
couch.
Yeah, notably like a two-story fall, maybe.
Eh,
It's at least a
but
story.
It's big. It's a big fall, and they land right on a couch,
So
and
they're
they're
perfectly fine.
unharmed.
So very lucky this random couch was there.
Especially for ghosts, do they need couches?
No. I don't think so, at least. So the kids are kind of freaked out, and they see all these crazy ghosts around them. And Coffin Ed's like, I got this. Hey, kids, you're dreaming. And they just look at him like, are you stupid? This is where the jokes are a lot of time in this movie.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, well, I tried.
Yeah. And the kids are like, okay, I got something you want. We want answers for what's happening, and we'll give you the ghost in the jar. And instead, Mariah just steals the jar.
She just uses her ghost magic to, like, take the jar.
It's He's like, we don't need to do that.
So Mariah is like more powerful than the other ghosts.
Yeah. And except being more powerful, she still can unscrew open the jar.
Yeah, she couldn't get the jar.
So they just break it on the ground.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, this is the Soul Retrieval Center. This here is Coffin Ed. The guy you captured, he's Jumper. And they're trying to introduce, but Ian falls right through him and goes right into the couch. And he's like, man, that's so funny. I'm going to do it again later. And he does. And Claire is watching people going through the magical mirror over to the other side. And he's like, wow, that's kind of creepy. And Claire's like, am I going to die? And the ghosts are like, yeah, eventually.
Yeah, duh, Claire.
What are you, an idiot?
Everybody dies, Claire.
Everybody poops and everybody dies. Then she asks, you all know what's on the other side through that mirror? And they're like, no, we were trying these jobs on death.
Yeah, they were like forced to have these jobs. How?
I don't get how that works.
No.
They don't explain it. Maybe they would if it was a TV show like it was planned to be.
Can they just walk through anyway and say, fuck you, I don't want to work anymore?
Yeah, what would happen? Eternal damnation?
Who decides this?
I don't know. There's some afterlife system here.
This is why we need it to be a full TV show.
Yeah, which we would not have watched.
True.
When Ian looks around at the record community, he notices that his grandpa's name is unchecked. Oh no, he didn't cross over.
No,
So
he was in the house.
he makes a deal with Mariah saying, hey, we won't tell anybody about this as long as you get our grandpa across after fulfilling whatever's holding him back.
Yeah, so at first it's, we won't tell anyone if you let him get across. Mariah's like, deal. Like, that's
Easy.
what I want anyway. And he's like, but you have to let him do whatever he wants first. Like, the reason he stayed back. Mariah's like, oh, fine.
Yeah. So Ian and Claire walk home. They just leave.
Yeah, well, what else are they gonna do?
And Ian's like, haha, I knew there were ghosts. And Claire's like, man, I wonder what Grandpa wants.
Yeah,
You
why
know?
did he stay
Why did he
back?
stay back? And as they're walking out, they see a cop car in their yard. Bro. Their dad was worried about them because they were gone when he got home. Very reasonable parent behavior. Call the cops, reasonable.
Mhm.
And he's like, oh my God, I'm glad you're safe. What were you doing? And Claire's like about to be like, we were chasing after ghosts and stuff.
Yeah,
And Ian says, oh, we were frog hunting.
frog hunting.
And he like just makes a pretty mediocre lie about frog hunting.
Yeah, he's like, Claire's afraid of frogs. And she's like, no, I'm not. He's like, yeah, so that's why we came back.
Yeah. And they go inside and the dad tells the cops, I'm sorry, their grandpa just died.
Yeah,
They're
sorry
probably
about
being
that.
weird. Yeah. The next day, they wake up. There's like a robot rooster out in front of the house that cockadoodle doos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's weird.
The
That's
dad
annoying
is
to the
making him
neighbors.
do some heavy labor in the house, getting stuff up as like making up for, going off unsupervised
At
to the
night.
white woods at night.
Yeah.
But they're doing a good job. So the dad's like, okay, I can leave you and go into town quickly. And right when he leaves, the kids immediately run up the stairs. But as they're running up the stairs, the dad comes back in.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey kids, are you okay? Like, you can
Yep.
tell me if you're not feeling okay. The kids, who we just left in the living room pushing a box and are now both like halfway up the stairs,
Yeah.
are like, yeah, we're fine.
We're good. And he keeps almost leaving and then coming
Yeah,
back.
the dad leaves fully again and they start going up the stairs and then he comes right back in and goes, sure. And they go,
Yeah.
yep. And somehow he's none the wiser. I don't get it. But whatever. So up in the room, they're like, okay, well, we got to think about some ways to ghost hunt our grandpa. This is
Yeah.
where we're at in this movie. And Claire's like, I'm going to try and bring some good memories to
Yeah.
turn him in.
She has the box.
The box of the dad's
Mhm.
trinkets.
But then they just start going like, hey, Grandpa, you want to come out?
Yeah. They're like, well, we don't know if that'll work. Let's just ask him. Can you please come through? And the grandpa comes in and he forms in the room. And they see him. And Claire's like, hey, Grandpa, cross over.
Yeah, why have you crossed over?
Go and cross over. You should do that. But fire starts coming out of the fireplace. And it's in a spooky way, not in a normal way. Oh no. Grandpa says, Ian, Claire.
Whoa! And then fireball.
Yeah, Zacharias forms with a fireball in his hand. The kids are confused. And Ian's like, I'm going to try and vacuum him up, but it doesn't work.
No.
And Zacharias looks menacingly and he says, well, I'm going to give you something to remember me by. And guess what? It's a fireball. He throws a fireball into the house,
He's just evil.
and then he goes back into the fireplace. Meanwhile, Claire runs downstairs, grabs a fire extinguisher, and extinguishes it out.
Mm-hmm.
Then the dad just comes back in. His whole time out seemingly wasn't long.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And the kids do not a good job making the whole thing reasonable. This whole movie, they're very bad with their lying.
Yeah.
Like, they're telling the truth a lot of the times in just the worst ways.
Mhm.
Where, like, it just makes them look worse than what actually saying the truth, even if you wouldn't believe it would be.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. The grandpa and Zacharias both are gone from the whole room and area. But the kids just talk about how they're amazed that Zacharias is actually real and he's actually a pyromaniac. Meanwhile, the dad in the room sees his box of memories and is a little heartwarmed.
Yeah.
Just a little. Just a little. All right. Now we get back to the Ghost HQ. Ian and Claire apparently can just go here at a whim now. They're not like, hey, you can't come back here or anything.
Yeah, no, they can just walk in. Anybody could walk in if they knew where it was, probably.
Yeah. There's no ghosts at the HQ other than the workers because ghosts like to travel during night.
Yeah, duh.
During the day, they're just alone.
Yeah, Mariah says ghosts like to travel at night. They're ghosts. Like, come on.
Yeah. And Ian's like, hey, yeah, Zachariah is real and he's scary and he was throwing fire and he seems like a bad dude. Coffin Ed says, sounds like my second wife.
Yeah, I got a snake around of me. Coffin Ed is always just like, oh, like cracking jokes.
Yeah. The ghosts talk about how Zachariah captures people's souls and steals their life force to keep fueling his evilness.
Damn.
I love like a lore drop on how this has happened.
Yeah.
It's possible. We won't get that.
Really explain it. Like he gives his explanation later. It doesn't really make sense.
So if that happens to the grandpa, he won't be able to cross over.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mariah's freaking out the whole time. She's like, I can't believe like I'm missing another person. The station is accurate 99.99999% of the time.
And that's second place in the country, only to New Jersey, but New Jersey commits accounting fraud.
Duh.
So like we're pretty much number one.
She's like, whatever, it's just one person, like, we're still super good.
Yeah. Jumper goes and defends. Like the kids are like, wait, no, maybe we should go and try and save Grandpa. Like maybe that is a good thing to try and
Ian
do.
especially is like, you can't give up on my grandpa. He's my grandpa. Blah, blah, blah.
We're the Soul Patrol. We're gonna go and save him.
Yeah.
Multiple times I will use this Soul Patrol name, and it's very weird that this movie's not called that.
We're the Scream Team.
Yeah.
Soul Patrol? I mean, it also rhymes, but I feel like for a kid's movie, who's gonna watch Soul Patrol over Scream Team?
Soul Patrol.
Be on the
Triple. It's very fast.
The triple.
Ghost.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Coffin Ed's like, 1 week before my retirement, I'm in.
All
of them are 1 week before their retirement.
Which I guess it makes sense that they're all in the same cycle.
I guess.
Maybe. Yeah, they're all like, oh, I'm so close to retirement.
But they don't all explain that at the same time. They all say it at different points.
Yeah.
1 week from retirement.
Yeah.
So Jumper leads the Soul Patrol out to save her day, and Mariah's just freaked out about messing up on the job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the ghosts and kids walk towards Zachariah's place. Their base of operations.
his like burned down cabin, right?
Presumably. They don't get to the cabin at this point.
No.
Well,
Okay.
yeah.
But you said it's towards Zacharias.
Yeah. Claire doesn't get she's like, why would Zachariah want revenge? Because there must be something deeper to all of this. And everyone else is like, you're an idiot. He's crazy.
Well, yeah, it's like he wants revenge because they burned him at the stake because he's a crazy murderer. Like he murdered his wife and then he was punished and now he wants to kill everybody.
Well, Claire's like, I don't know. That doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense to Claire.
Yeah. So they go into this spooky elevator. It's a mine shaft.
Yeah, they're in like some kind of
They're really just doing
mines.
all this kind of without explaining over much. This movie doesn't heavy hand exposition, which is good in some places and unfortunate in others. Because I
Yeah.
feel like the most interesting stuff about this movie could have been its lore.
Hmm. But like, how did they know to come here?
I don't know.
What is this place?
Maybe the ghosts know because they know Zacharias is
Maybe. I
energy.
mean, like, we know this is an old mine that's shut down to the public and they
Yeah.
don't use it anymore.
So lanterns light up as they're walking through the room to go deeper into Zacharias' home base. And they go deeper into the tunnel, and they see a mine shaft just goes down miles into the ground and is like straight vertical and has a bunch of souls that Zacharias stole
Oh,
as faces
whoa.
in there. And they see Zachariah in the room powering himself up. He's getting stronger. So they bring their equipment that they had. They had this the whole time. I forgot to mention.
Oh, yeah, the dumb vacuum thing he
Yeah.
has. Yeah.
The big vacuum cleaner, and they start sucking him up, and they get him all the way almost inside the machine, but then it malfunctions. He starts to go out, but then they're able to get it to work again, and he gets trapped inside the vacuum machine. Hooray! Movie's over. Just kidding. He broke free about this, and breaking free of that knocks Claire into this miles deep hole that will certainly kill her.
Yeah.
Not
Scary
good.
stuff.
Yeah, not good at all. So she holds onto a rock in the like mine shaft, and Ian goes and throws down a rope and starts pulling this up, and she sees faces on the wall asking for help.
It's the ghost that he traps for his power.
Yeah. Uh, but she, as far as she can tell, like she's quite possibly gonna die. She's trying to get up with Ian's rope, and Ian's maybe not strong enough to pull her out. It's pretty scary.
Ooh.
And we see Jumper tell Ed, like, hey, I'm gonna go fight Zachariah. You go help him with the rope. And Ed's like, what? No, you're gonna die. And Jumper's like, okay, you want to trade spots? And Ed said, I'll go help with the rope. So he tries to help with rope, but he can't physically grab it, so he actually does nothing.
He's a ghost.
Yeah.
He can't grab a rope.
The way ghosts can interact with objects is very inconsistent.
Yeah, because
Actually.
they have the jar.
He was able to pick a lock later.
And sometimes they can knock stuff off. I don't know. But they
Uh,
can't grab a rope.
yeah.
That's against ghost rules.
Claire like almost slips off of the grip, but she gets it just out at the very end. Meanwhile, Zachariah phases through Jumper. All Jumper did was like taunt him,
Yeah, he's like, man, stop it.
and he disintegrates Jumper.
No.
But now Jumper is going to be one of the faces on the wall.
Yeah.
Oh no! And Coffin Ed's like, man, I'll save him, or I'm going to die trying. And the kids are like, that's kind of an empty promise.
Yeah, because you're already dead.
Yeah. So they get out of the mine shaft / outhouse. It looks more like an outhouse.
Yeah.
And Ed, they all notice some cops, and so Ed goes, "Oh well, there's some advantages of being dead," and just flies away.
Yeah. He's like, well, I don't have to get caught by the cops.
Yeah. And they hear the cops, like they go and talk with the cops. Have been like, "Hey, what are you kids doing there? That's dangerous. This was sealed off because there were natural gas leaks in the area.
Yeah, you're lucky you're not dead.
The fire you started in there could have killed you."
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, "We didn't start a fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning."
They
Oh,
don't say
that was my joke. That was
You
from
ma-
the hit song by Billy Joel, "We Didn't Start the Fire."
But you made it sound like they made a "We Didn't Start the Fire" joke in the DCOM.
Well, maybe this movie would have been better if they did. They are like, "We did nothing wrong," as their dad pulls him out of the cop car and is like, "Man, I'm just happy you're alive, but also I'm going to skip that speech and just go to the why the hell would you do that? Because
Yeah.
this is 2 days in a row."
Yeah, what the hell? Why do you keep sneaking out and doing dangerous shit?
Yeah, they're like, "We did nothing wrong," and the cop says, "Trespassing, arson, destruction of property."
Yeah.
Listing off, the dad's just disappointed in him, says, "Hey, we're going back to Boston first thing in the morning."
No, we can't. What about Grandpa?
Yeah. The dad's like, "What? Did Zacharias start the fire?" And the kids are like, "How did you know?"
Oh, that is what happened.
And meanwhile, Warner was spying on them using his eyes through like a picture hole.
Oh, yeah, that was so weird. It's like, also you see an eye through a little hole. It's creepy.
Yeah. So back at the house, they tell the dad the whole story with the truth, and the dad's like, "I don't believe you." And you know what? That's fair.
Ghosts? You think
Yeah.
ghosts are
So
real?
they all squabble up, especially the dad and Ian start arguing.
Yeah.
And Claire goes, "I can't believe the men in this family are always fighting. Like, it was you and Grandpa or you and Ian, Dad. Like,
Yeah, you need to stop
mm,
it.
and then the dad looks at Claire and is like, that's something your mother would have said.
Yeah, it's like this heartwarming 2 seconds, and we're assuming the mom's dead, they never mention it.
It's just it's really goofy, honestly,
Yeah, it's
because
kinda
it's trying
weird.
to be serious, but there's not enough build up in the slightest for any
Yeah.
of this. Yeah. Meanwhile, they get figure out outside the house there's a fire out there. Uh-oh. There's words that say "stay away."
Yeah, written in fire.
It's written in fire.
In their lawn. When they put it out, you can see that it says, "Stay
Yeah.
away," and they're like, "Oh."
That night, the kids are peaceful in the bed, and the dad's like watching over them protectively. The next morning, the cops come back because they want to talk about the fire. The dad called him over for that.
Yeah.
And he says, I spent more time talking to the police in the last 3 days than I did my entire time living here. And I was considered something of a hooligan.
It was so dope. I love the word hooligan.
Hooligan's a great word.
I was something of a hooligan. Was he? Was he something of a hooligan? He got into Harvard.
He talked with the cops about the fire, and he's like, the kids were like, well, did you mention about the ghosts that started? And he's like, no, I don't think that's the good idea.
Why would I tell them about your theory about
The
ghosts?
kids are like, so we have to leave. And the dad's like, actually, since we got physically threatened to stay away with fire, I think the best course of action is stay.
So dumb. He's like, I don't like threats. I don't like people threatening my family, so we're gonna stay. What?
This dad runs exclusively on spite. It was spite for his dad, which is what got him into Harvard,
Yeah.
and then spite for his kids that like got him into all of these arguments, and now spite for the cops. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, spite like towards the person threatening him. He's like, "You want me to stay away? No, I'm actually gonna stay here." Meh. Like the safest thing to do for your children would be to leave.
Mhm.
Actually,
Actually, but he doesn't care about his kids' safety.
no.
So that day, like later on, because they were given free time, the dad apparently just goes away again. I don't know what he's doing.
Uh,
Claire and Ian go and look for Zachariah's house with Coffin Ed.
yeah, the burned down cabin.
Wouldn't it make sense to show Coffin Ed to the dad?
Like they have a ghost who's willing to show himself to the kids.
Maybe he isn't willing to show himself because these kids are the only ones who's supposed to know.
I
That was a part of the
guess.
agreement.
It's pretty dumb. Then the kids just told their dad anyway.
Yeah,
So they already broke the
so they already
agreement.
broke it. So whatever. Oh. So they're walking towards the house. Claire again is like, "Man, Zachariah must want something," and everyone else is like, "Yeah, murder everyone,
Yeah, duh.
destruction of property."
Come on, Claire, he's crazy.
And while this is happening, we get a fun camera angle of the ground. Something sneaking up behind them.
Mm.
Ooh, spooky. They get to the cabin, which is still burnt down. No one cleaned this up in 200 years.
Because it's like a big deal.
And I feel like this makes it even more obvious that he's not a legend, even though some people think he's a legend. No, this is a real guy.
I think they all know that he was a real guy.
Yeah.
In the town, at least.
So they get to the cabin and like burns down. They're looking for clues for anything, and Claire finds a pipe at the bottom of the cabin,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, "Oh my god, I knew it! I knew there'd be something here."
Yeah,
Hey,
I knew there'd be a pipe. What the heck?
hey, Coffin Ed, can you go and flow through this very tiny pipe and see how deep it is?
He says, well, I've done worse. So he goes down the pipe, and then he comes back, and he's like, I was wrong. That was the worst thing I've ever done.
While he's in the pipe, a big old dog comes out and
Yeah,
spooks the
just like
kids,
a German
and they're
Shepherd.
freaking out, and they're stuff like that. And when Ed comes out, they're like, "Hey Ed, can you like distract the dog while we go run away screaming?"
He's like, I guess.
Yeah. And the dog just plays with it after
The dog,
phasing through him.
yeah, the dog wants to attack Ed, so the kids run away. The dog jumps through Ed and then gets scared. Right? Did they do more? The dog's like freaked out later.
No, but that's that. The kids just run over to the library.
Yeah, they really do run away screaming. It was just a dog.
Yeah, but I mean, dogs can be scary. Big
Yeah.
dogs that are trying to attack you.
But they were at a lot of distance and
They're
they
not
were still
dog people.
screaming. They were really screaming. Then what are they? Some kind of scream team?
So they go to the library. They pull together as much information on Zachariah Cull as they are able to. They're trying to get all stuff, and they ask the librarian for it, and they're like, "Well, it's the books your grandpa had."
Yeah, the ones you returned to me earlier. Yeah.
And she goes out to pull them out, but uh-oh, they're gone. The only other person that's been looking for these is Warner.
What?
My
So
God.
he must have them.
Meanwhile, they go outside and they see the dog. It's in the truck bed.
The same dog, so it's Warner's dog.
It's Warner's dog because Warner comes up and talks to him. It's like, hey, you've met my dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's tired because he was dealing with trespassers.
Ooh. And they kind of just have a little cold war with each other,
Yeah. Of like who
trading blows of not actually accusing anything.
Yeah.
And Warner's like, well, I gotta leave to go prepare the festival.
Mm.
So, yeah. Meanwhile, Ed pops out. He was in the truck's muffler.
Yeah.
So there you go. So the kids and Ed go to Warner's house
Yeah.
and just go, let's go break in there and steal the books back.
Yeah, they have Ed go through the door because like it's not breaking and entering if you go and unlock the door. Then
Yeah.
it's just entering a door that's unlocked.
Which is still a crime.
Yeah, it is.
So they go through this house and look through the books, and Warner drives home and gets a brief glimpse of Coffin Ed.
Yeah, they like freak out because he's home and they have to run away. And he sees Ed.
Coffin Ed warns Ian and Claire, like, hey, you might want to get out of here. He's here. But they found the books. They have it. That's great. And they start to run out. But Warner starts coming in the house. And they can't get in. His lock's unlocked on his front door, which apparently they locked back up again. I guess in case he came through the front door.
Yeah, I don't know. I
To
think
make
he
it
went
as
out
it was.
the back door.
Something
when
like
it was all
maybe
locked
maybe
up.
that's accurate.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say I don't think so for how this develops, but it doesn't matter too much. And Warner realizes, uh-oh, someone may have been in here, and he runs upstairs to look for his books.
My books are
The
gone.
books are stolen. And he's muttering to himself, the damn kids stole my damn books.
He like knew that that's what they were going to be after. His first thing he went and looked for.
And he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill these kids.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then Dad knocks on the door. Our main dad. Yeah. He's like, hey Warner, I want to know if you knew anything about Zachariah. And the dad's like, you're just making a distraction so your kids can get away. And he's like,
What?
what?
What are you talking about? And then he does see his kids.
Yeah, he sees his kids hiding in a closet, and he's like, very much, the fuck's going on this time?
Yeah,
These kids are such troublemakers.
But he does distract.
Yeah, he distracts him, and Warner just leaves his house.
Yeah.
I guess he didn't realize they were still in there.
No, he thought they were gone.
Yeah. So there we go. So the dad finds the kids at home, and he's like, y'all want to talk for a bit?
Yeah, and they're like, come on, like Warner's the one that set up the fire and stuff, and he's like, yeah, actually, I agree.
Yeah, I do think Warner's the one that told us to stay away in fire.
Yeah, he's threatening us because like his house was broken into, and the first thing he looked for was books. Sus. So yeah.
So the kids are still in trouble, but hey, they're all on the same team now. The dad's gonna help research and stuff. We get a tiny little flash to Jumper. He's in the mine shaft asking for help. Oh no, poor Jumper.
Yeah.
Don't care.
What? Why is there a mine shaft?
I don't know. They're drilling for gas.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So we get all of the kids and the dad studying, and Claire figures out, oh my God, Zachariah accidentally drilled into a natural gas line. That was like just invented at the time. And it blew up his house.
Yeah, he was like inventing it before it was invented publicly. Like he figured out that you can mine for natural gas because he was an inventor.
He didn't kill his wife. It was an accident. Oh no. You might still get charged for manslaughter.
Yeah. So he's like mad because he didn't kill his wife, and
And everyone thinks he did kill them, so that's why he's seeking revenge.
yeah, because he was burned at the stake for a crime he
And
didn't commit.
they're like, well, we got to keep looking at ideas. And Ian, for some reason, just goes like, you know what? No, fuck Zachariah. I don't care if he's trying to be like trying to get revenge, and we're figuring out for that. He's trying to kill, like, not let my grandpa cross over the other side. That's the only thing that matters. We need to kill this ghost.
Yeah.
He gets like very passionate about this is the only way that makes sense.
Yeah, he's like, you might as well just be killing him all over again or something. He storms out of the house.
And he's like, all I care about is saving Grandpa. Y'all are terrible. Dad, you just hate him.
Yeah, you just hate Grandpa. And he storms out and Claire's like, should we go after him?
And Dad's like, just give him space. He needs it just like I needed it when I said the same thing to my father.
Did you say the same thing to your father?
Pretty specific.
This is a pretty specific situation. He probably said one more generic thing before he
So,
left.
just for basically the rest of the movie, Ian's going to be on his own, which is kind of insane for how much scary stuff is going on.
Like, the climax of the movie happens and Ian isn't really involved.
It's wild. The main character isn't there.
Yeah, he is the main character, right?
I would say he's the main character.
Yeah. I mean, Claire is right there with him, but
it feels like Ian driving the plot the majority of the time.
yeah.
So Ian goes to the soul retrieval zone. I just call it Ghost HQ a lot.
Yeah.
Talks with Mariah and is like, hey, you need to help me. Like, we got to get my grandpa back now. Mariah's like, I'm just not going to report that he's missing at all and hope that I get retired in, like, the end of the week.
Yeah.
All right,
she's
bye.
able to.
And Ian's like, no one's going to help me. But Ian just starts playing into her ego, being
Yeah.
like, oh, I need a big, strong ghost, but I don't think you're strong enough to do it.
Or maybe if you do help me, you'd save all those souls that are trapped by Zachariah.
You definitely get to be retired right away.
Yeah, early, which, I mean, I don't know why she's taking the chance for like a couple days ahead of when she was going to retire, but she's like, yeah, I am a cool ghost, and I am going to save the day. Let's do this.
Cool. Back at the house, the dad finds that Zachariah wasn't even given a trial. No due process.
What the heck?
That's terrible. And the only thing he said in a public statement was for his wife to wait for him.
Wait for me, Maria.
Wait
What's
for
her
me.
name? Martha?
No.
Bethany? Eddie?
It's a B, I'm pretty sure.
I'll look it up. You keep going.
He was a genius. He wasn't a villain. Oh my god. People were afraid of what they didn't understand. Oh my god. Now we know why Warner's looking against this. He's protecting he's hiding the truth because otherwise his festival will be less popular.
Her name's Rebecca.
Rebecca?
Yeah.
Becca.
Rebecca!
So they decide they're going to go to the festival and reveal the truth. And then Zachariah will finally go to the other side and everything will be fixed. Side note, Warner's evil plot in this movie, outside of like the very threatening, almost child abducting vibes that he gives off at several points,
Yeah.
is that he's keeping like history hidden a little bit to keep up a town lore that is supposed to make the land popular
Yeah, so
and help the economy. He's really not a bad dude.
No, it's like there's this spooky legend that they have this festival for, and they love Halloween, and it's like, ooh, we have this legend this guy killed his wife, and he was burned at the stake, and now his spirit is like haunting the town. Ooh. And he's like marketing it, putting on a festival, gonna put up a theme park, gonna do a replica of the cabin, like just making money for the town. And they're like, this isn't right. He wasn't evil. And it's like, this happened so long ago. Does it really matter? Like, it's just an urban legend. But I guess it's because it was a real person that they're like, oh, you shouldn't disgrace his name like that. And also, he's a real ghost, and he didn't know that. He didn't know that Zachariah was a real ghost that's been setting places on fire and stealing other ghosts. He thought it was just a dead guy and ghosts aren't real. And like, why does this matter?
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, if you know ghosts are real, yeah, sure, this is shitty. He didn't know ghosts are real, and the very natural, general conclusion of most people are ghosts aren't real.
Yeah.
So, thinking of it from that way, he's decreeing a dead person's name, sure, but this guy's 200 years old. He's definitely more of a legend than like a historical relative of anyone.
Yeah.
and he's helping the town. It's legitimately he's doing positive stuff.
It's really
Just
not
in
bad.
like a somewhat dirty way.
Yeah.
He is vilified too much for this movie.
Like, how many times has history just gotten things wrong anyway?
Probably a ton.
All the time.
So cool. We get a cut into the festival in the town. It's going great. Very fun. Honestly, looks like a banger of a time.
Honestly, yeah.
It looks pretty cool.
It's pretty
I
fun.
get why they're the capital of Halloween.
What about Anoka?
Does Anoka have Zachariah Cull Festival?
No.
So then after that, we see Ian and Coffin Ed storming up to Zachariah's location. And Zachariah's like, I'd love to attack you and like tell you stuff, but I gotta go to the festival they're having in my honor right now. But he goes to attack them to like be able to leave for that. And Mariah comes in and stops him. She's so powerful.
Yeah, she can stop a flame ball.
Oh
It's
my
like, you're
God,
not the only one with
crazy.
ghost powers.
At the festival, the dad and Claire get there and they confront Warner. And they're like, hey, Warner, you got to tell the truth. We have the books right here. Proof Zachariah didn't do anything. And he's like, gonna do that. And he takes the books and throws them in the fire.
Yeah. He's like, no. Yeah, just burns the books. Can I just talk about how the dad had these books, right? The books that are now gone that prove that Zachariah was innocent. He like had them in his house and he didn't give them back to the library.
Well, he probably died before they were due.
You think so? Like, if this was a very recent thing? Because, okay, earlier in the movie, Claire said, oh, he had nice things to say about Zachariah because he knew the truth that he was just like a cool inventor and the grandpa was an inventor too. Why didn't he clear his name with the town? Especially he and Warner were rivals.
Well, he got murdered before then. We need to
What?
investigate this. This was probably Warner's murdering him.
I think Grandpa just didn't care.
And I also think that, especially the conclusion that we get in this movie,
Yeah, he literally
very
didn't
much
care.
paints the picture that he explicitly does not care about the Zachariah shit.
No.
He probably just thought, oh, that's interesting. And Warner can turn it into a festival. I don't care.
Yeah, he's like, I literally don't care.
Yeah. So Zachariah is fighting with Ian and Mariah and Coffin Ed, and he's like, Jumper gave me some extra power. Now I can breathe flames out of my nose.
Yeah, what?
That's just how this is going. And Ian and Ed run out because like the mine shaft's starting to light up in flames.
Oh yeah, this is like the last we see of Ian for a while.
Yeah.
The whole climax, last we saw of him, he was running away from the fire.
So now Zachariah appears at the festival, showing up in the big fire that was started by the books and everything.
Yeah, they have like a giant
Bonfire.
kind of bonfire, like straw statue of Zachariah that they lit on fire.
Pretty cool.
Think the beginning of Wicked during No One Mourns the Wicked. When they burned
Oh
the
my
big
god,
witch.
did Wicked steal from the Scream Team
What?
2002?
Yeah, they lit on fire because he was burned at the stake, remember? Everyone's like, haha, this one guy was burned at the stake hundreds of years ago. That's so cool. Let's have a festival. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. So at this festival, Zachariah just shows up. He's like, I'm gonna throw some fireballs, and he like hits the Ferris wheel that's there.
Yeah, he's like a big ghost guy that just revealing himself in front of all the humans.
Kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy.
The dad finds Warner and holds him up to Zachariah and says, "Admit it all." And meanwhile, Claire's like, "I'm not scared. I know you didn't kill your wife."
I know you're a good person.
He's still throwing fireballs. Maybe he did go insane in the last 200 years.
As a ghost.
Yeah. And Warner admits everything to Zachariah, being like, I knew you were innocent from the start. I'll name my first kid after you. Sorry, wait, I already have kids. I'll name my next kid. I'll have a new kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, that does nothing. Neither of those do anything because
Yeah.
Zachariah just continues to attack.
It's like,
But
that means
Claire-
nothing to me.
Claire says, wait a second. You have to focus on what you love. What about your wife, Rebecca? How much longer will you make her wait?
And then we see Rebecca in the mirror and she's like, Zachariah, come back to me. And he's like, oh, Rebecca. And he flies and he goes to the mirror and they can be together and he crosses over to the other side. Like, that's all it took was Claire being like, hey, what about your wife, though? You said wait for me.
Wait for me.
How much longer does she have to wait for you? And he's like, you're right.
And he's like, I'm coming.
And I guess his name is cleared now, too.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right, I'll leave. Bye.
Yeah, what am I doing back here anyways?
Hmm.
Yeah. So all of the souls that were captured were let go. Then they're free to cross over, including Jumper. And he's not crossing over though.
No, he's not crossing over.
But
He works there.
yeah, but he's free.
Yeah, so Zachariah did have all these ghosts trapped. Didn't he say, I only kept them trapped
Yeah, it was
because
like
they didn't want
I
to
didn't want to move to the other side. That was the
Yeah.
only souls that I ate.
So let's talk about this for a second. What the fuck's happening? He like had these souls trapped, but he's like, they wanted to be trapped.
Yeah, he only took souls that weren't flying away.
Yeah. But then he did keep him trapped to power him up.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No, he didn't give them a chance to escape. But he's like, anyone that tried to escape right away, they got free.
This is weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense. They don't give good explanations for things.
You want something else that doesn't get a good explanation?
Yeah.
So we get back home to the house.
And they're
This is
acting so casual.
post-festival.
It's the
Do you think the
three.
festival continued on after this?
No, but also, yeah, Ian came back. He's like, "Hey guys," they're like, "Oh, hey Ian, we did it."
We didn't even mention that. Yeah,
Yeah,
Ian came back at the very end of this.
Yeah, at the
He's
festival.
like,
They're like,
"Yay,
"Yay,
we
we
did it!" He was not a part of the festival showdown in the slightest.
No, it was just Claire saying, "Zachariah, you should go back with your wife," and he was like, "Okay," and then that was it. That was the whole climax. And so Ian comes back, and then they all go home, and they're acting so casual about everything. They're just like, "Yeah, we did it," and then they see Grandpa, the ghost, just chilling.
He's just sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Whoa, how are you here?" And he's like, "I got a reprieve to come see you."
Yeah, I heard you organized that, Ian.
And they're like, "Hey, Grandpa, thank you for the books." And he goes, "I don't care about those stupid books."
Yeah, I just wanted you to see the box behind the books.
Yeah, all I wanted to do, the reason I stayed behind and didn't go to the other side, the big regret I couldn't live with, was I needed to talk to you, my son, the dad.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad. Sorry, hey, son.
Hey, son.
I'm proud of you.
What? You're proud of me?
Yeah, I don't know why you wanted to hang with your stupid father so bad.
Okay, so that's basically what he said.
It's almost, he says stupid father.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So he's like, you were so smart, and I didn't want to step in the way of your future, and all you wanted to do was hang out with your dad all the time like a fucking loser. So I decided to like cut you off from my
I'm going to
life.
cut you out of my life because that's the best thing to do.
I was gonna be neglectful and push you away so that you could go to Harvard, basically. It's like, and the dad's like, "Oh, I can't believe it." Like, this doesn't make him a good dad.
Yeah. The dad says, "I was so worried about your future, I lost track of your present." Yeah, like, this is a bad apology. Especially because then he says, "Also, son, you're doing a bad job being a dad."
And now you're doing the same thing I'm doing. It's like, is he though? Is he? He's not ignoring his kids at all.
No. It's completely separate. Like,
It's so
could
weird.
he be better? Sure. Is this really the issue? No. Like, he's just, like, emotionally needs to be more open. And you know who hurt him that way? You. But when the dad says, like, you're doing a bad job, he says, "Not anymore."
Not anymore.
God damn it.
The dad was doing anything wrong at all, except when he was like, I don't care about my dad's stuff. When Ian did.
He's not good emotionally with it, but, like, he's certainly... It's coming from a spot more of drama of the fact that the dad is there and probably the mom is dead.
Yeah, I think from what we see, obviously we don't see a lot, but from what we see, he's a good father in every aspect except for his dead father, their grandfather. And that's because he doesn't like his dad because he neglected him his whole life. This I don't know. And then the dad too, or the grandpa too, just reiterates, I didn't care about those books. I didn't care about the Zachariah stuff. Like,
and that was a whole side plot I wasn't involved in.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess I was captured by him, but like, I just wanted you to see the little box.
Yeah.
Even though he kept calling out Ian in the beginning.
Yeah, what was that about, huh?
Why didn't he
say, Dad? Do we ever get his name?
I had it down in the factos. Richard.
Yeah. Richard. Dick. Maybe a ghost yelling out Dick puts off a different impression, so he decided to go for Ian instead.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like this conclusion's kind of dumb.
It is. You know what else is dumb about this conclusion is the ghost headquarters side of it.
Yeah.
Which is, Jumper, Coffin Ed, and Mariah all there. The kids are there too. And
We
they're
were
like,
go out to check on them. Yeah.
yeah. And they're like, yeah, well, our posts have been extended indefinitely because of everyone seeing a ghost at the festival.
Yeah.
So that sucked.
So we don't get to pass on.
All right.
And the kids are like, oh, that sucks. Well, we get to stick around. The dad says we get to live here now, so we'll come visit you.
Or their old friends and family that they were connected with at their old school and everything.
Yeah, I feel like wouldn't they want to go back? But we see the dad is opening up a shop,
Yeah.
right?
So the dad is a doctor, and he turns the old hardware store into
A
a
medical center,
medical center.
which is great. This is the first time we learn he's a doctor, right?
Yeah, we know he went to Harvard.
I
But
assumed it was for
I
law.
feel like a law office would make more sense.
Yeah, why was he a doctor?
I don't know.
It's so weird.
Harvard probably has a good medical school.
Probably does, but like it's I don't know, this ending is so weird. They're just like, yeah, we're sticking around, blah blah blah.
And we get to hear the fun Scream Team song again. Hell yeah.
I feel like it makes sense if you think about it in the context of a pilot for a show.
Yeah.
But for a movie, it's like, what the hell?
This does feel more like a pilot show. When you said those words and the fact is, I'm like, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Every character is ending in a way that they can still expand upon them. And they didn't write off these characters that were clearly able to be written off conclusively.
They should have passed on.
Yeah.
That's what they wanted the whole time.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah.
instead they were like, well, this maybe is a TV show.
Yeah. And then it's like no longer Halloween Town, it's like Inventors Town.
Steeple Falls, no longer the capital of Halloween, home of the Inventors Fair. That's going to do way worse numbers.
Yeah, but I like that it's because Zachariah was an inventor and the grandpa was an
Yeah.
inventor.
But they could still just be the capital of Halloween.
Yeah.
It was a sick ass festival. Let's be real.
It was a sick ass festival.
And the kids and now the dad are trying to invent the pumpkin carver, and they're having so much fun, and they all get gooped up.
Hey, but wait, back to the Halloween thing. They literally all saw a ghost shooting fire at them, and they want to drop the Halloween thing?
Like, that's a pretty awesome thing to be able to market a bond.
They were literally all haunted.
There are hundreds of people there that can, like, verify this happened.
Yeah.
It would be such a cool local legend.
They could be like, yeah, this ghost
was in the Ferris wheel.
He was wrongly accused burning at the stake, and then he came and he lit fire to the Ferris wheel. Like, that's a new cool legend.
Yeah.
Like, and you can still say that he was framed.
Yeah. You can be completely truthful about it.
You could still market this, Warner. But no, they're like, let's do the Inventors Fair. It's just stupid.
As they're all working on this invention, Ghosted comes up to watch them all, and some goop flies at him, but he's dead, so he's like, well, I got to avoid that. That's a benefit of being dead.
The movie ends with pumpkin guts flying through Ed, and that's the last shot of the movie.
Well, and then we get a credits, which Kelsey lovingly described as a farting song.
It sounds like farts.
It just goes...
It's just like, it's techno, but it's farty.
And that's the movie.
This is a weird movie.
Again, they're like completely watchable, completely fine.
While you're watching it, like some of the humor is good. Like I think the
plot could certainly be less baked. It could be less set up. It's just I can't even say there wasn't passion behind this, because even though I don't really feel it, like somebody wrote this all up, and like if it was a TV show, I could see it having a much more in-depth lore, working on everything here.
Yeah, they did not handle the lore well at all.
It's just nothing at the end of the day.
Yeah. But like if you're watching it, it's fine. It's watchable. I'm not gonna go back and really want to watch it though. Like especially in terms of Halloween DCOMs even. Like this isn't nearly the top of my list.
Yeah, I have this in my C tier, and that feels perfectly fine for me.
Let's see.
Because there is basically nothing about this movie that I will remember in either direction about it beyond this.
I know. Final Jake House ranking was 56, so it's like right in the middle, kind of. Honestly, I think it should be lower. You have it at 61, and I have it at 75, so that's...
I think if anything, it's going to lower down because other films that we initially ranked as worse, we're finding more joy in.
Exactly. Yeah, I have it towards the top of my D tier.
Yeah.
Which I agree with, because like it's such a nothing movie.
I would probably put it low C.
I can't believe I have it a couple spots above Horse Sense. I can't believe I did that. Horse Sense is definitely better than this.
Horse Sense got sauce that this film lacks.
Yeah. How could I do this?
All right. Well, that's Scream Team. If this
That's
is your favorite
Scream Team.
movie of all time and you're mad about our opinions, please let us know at the decomduo@gmail.com.
I don't think there's a single person that would say that.
Do you think? I wonder if there's searchable stats on Letterboxd. Do you think this isn't anyone's top 4 things?
That'd be crazy. Like, I've seen 4 movies total. And this one is the best. Okay. So that was Scream Team. Now we gotta spin our wheel and decide what movie we're watching next.
Woo! I think it's going to be the Even Stevens movie.
I think it's gonna be The Swamp. Cool, let's spin the wheel. Woo! It's Alley Cat Strike.
Oh, fuck yes.
This movie rules.
This is very memorable, unlike the Scream Team.
This one we loved. Never heard of it before the marathon. Loved it.
There are so many like random movies that this marathon did where now I just ban Alley Cat Strike.
It's incredible.
I'll tune in next time to hear us talk about
Yeah,
it.
tune in 2 weeks and we will talk about Alley Cat Strike. Bye-bye.
Scenes from our next episode. My name's Alex, but you wouldn't know it from the clothes I wear.
In this town, there's West Appleton and East Appleton, and we have a trophy for an apple, and we hate each other.
I only really want the trophy because it looks a little bit like a bowling ball.
You're right, says the cool cat. You're right, says the hot dog.
How is this the most romantic tension in any DCOM ever?
These are the
And
two,
they're not even dating.
These are the 2 characters who are most in love out of any DCOM characters ever, and they're also gay.
Man, I can't believe East Appleton has this sick-ass bowling team that has been like stars this whole time and we didn't know it.
We didn't even know. We never did a bowling competition before.
Is that the chick from Big Bang Theory?
Is that the guy from Cheetah Girls?
Are they putting a bowling ball on the ground and spinning it and then pushing it? And that's going to be a 7-10 split?
Did she check for wind in an indoor bowling alley?
Is that commentator having a heart attack? Find out on the next episode of the DCOM Duo podcast.
Strike.